It's ironic because I think I said something about this in my last YouTube video like 3 years ago. Like, I want to just try more doing instead of, I guess, just like reducing overthink and more and increasing underthink. Increase underthink. Hi. Elusive autofocus. A few years ago, I made a video for this channel in which I made a lamp in the shape of the Arwen pendant, and then I kind of just dropped off. Life is what happens when you're making other plans. Except in this case, I was also making a plan and following that plan to become a tech bro, which I am now. Now that number go up, not very far up, but up enough to subsist, I am returning to YouTube. And I have another project, which is of a theme. Okay, it's another lamp. I'll just get it out of the way. It's another lamp. This channel is not going to be just for lamps. So all of you lamp heads out there, you'll get your fill, but not the entire fill. You should probably remain subscribed to those other lamp channels. This lamp is going to be in the shape of this object. Someone had used this for their wedding to hold like bottles of champagne. It kind of smells like a wedding still, which is beside the point. Ow! Okay, we soldier on. I'm using my iPhone as like a light source right now for this video, and a lamp from like 1924, which I don't think should be on super long. I don't think the wiring on this thing's... Okay, I promise I'm not obsessed with lamps. Okay, anyways, this thing, I'm gonna drill a hole in the bottom. I'm going to use this piece of hardware that I harvested from actually those like kitschy Christmas lamps. I actually like went into Goodwill and was taking lamps apart to see if I could use their components. I ended up buying the entire lamp.
I'm going to Goodwill to see if they have any lamps whose guts I could harvest.
Realizing in the car that I really just needed this part, and then going back into the store and saying like, I just bought this, I don't really need the whole thing. You can have this like snowman's log cabin back.
It came with a ceramic thing on top, but I just told them they could have it because I only need this part.
In case someone else wants it. Anyway, so I have this part, and it's gonna sit in the hole that I'm gonna drill in here. No, wait. Okay, there's an orb involved. Just gonna roll this down. My sister was gonna cast this orb aside. I said, hey now, I could maybe use that orb. Wanna meet that orb. This thing doesn't currently work. I'm going to remove the bottom from this, and perhaps once I've removed the battery, I will then replace this plastic cover, drill a hole for this thing to sit in. Then I'm going to, put the whole thing together. It's really not that complicated. Hopefully it will end up looking like this. A little something like this number right here, but glowing. This number right here, but glowing. I mean, it is very large for a pearl, but that's okay with me. And also, if I find out that this is too opaque, then I will just ask my neighbor chat if they have a spare orb laying about that they aren't pondering right now, and if I could borrow it for 5 years. It's hard to know where to find Christmas ornaments in March if you don't have an amazing neighbor chat, which I do as of a couple months ago for other reasons that I won't go into here. But I do go into on my Instagram, and if you want to help, there's some links where you can do that. So you should do that after this, because that would be really nice. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to now remove the plastic casing from this thing to see if this is too translucent or if I need to ask the neighbors for the orb vault password. I'm also hoping, whatever orb I use, I'm hoping I get to use my iridescent acrylic paints. I haven't used them since I 3D printed that stencil of the Star Wars font saying luminous beings are we, and like painted it on my wall in LA in a barely perceptible manner that only I could see. That was very special to me. So hopefully I can use it for this. Okay, I need to do this before I burn the house down with... There's just a lot of lamps at play right now. So the first thing I'm going to do is remove this disc. Okay, so a drill, right. one of those tiny YouTuber mics. But also, I really like just kind of making do what you have. It gives me a really nice feeling, and then also it's kind of just funny to schlep around with all this stuff. There's a place for anything you make in the world. There's a place for anything you make in the world. There's a place for anything you make in the world. There's a place for anything you make in the world. That's actually really nice. So since the lid was not reusable, I just used this Pringles can lid, cut a hole in the top, busted a hole in the top, and then just kind of snipped it around and made it big enough for the lamp hardware to fit in. I was a bit frustrated that I wasn't able to drill a hole into this plastic, but I would come to learn many things about drilling into plastic later in this journey. The main thing is, can I remove the hardware in order to change the light bulb? So I'm not too concerned about aesthetics. The battery is about to die on my camera. I'm gonna pick this up tomorrow. See you in the morning. Today is day 2 of the build. Next, need to drill a hole in this, but I'm nervous to drill a hole in this because I don't know what material it is. The person at the hardware store explained it to me, probably fiberglass. It might just be plastic. The drill bit that I got is all purpose, so theoretically it should work. However, from viewing a few tutorials and also talking to my brother, who is also a maker, it seems like there's quite a bit of risk in drilling plastic. I'm going to combine the recommended precautions from a couple of different tutorials. One of those being taping the drill site. The next one being misting it with water so the drill bit doesn't get overheated. There was a third thing. Taping it, misting it with water. And then there were some recommendations about like the angle at which you should drill it, or like where to start, or like honestly one person was just like you shouldn't drill plastic at all, you should just melt it with a soldering iron. I don't have a soldering iron, but I do have like a hot glue gun, which is a quasi soldering iron in my view, because it's like a hot piece of metal. It does melt plastic. That being said, another precaution that I'm going to take is wearing eye protection, of course. I am somewhat tempted to try melting this prior to drilling it. Tempted to do that. But I'm a little bit afraid that if I try melting it, that might make the plastic more brittle. If the melting doesn't work and I have to drill it, then will I have affected the like properties of the material? Anyway, I've given this some thought. Probably too much thought. I just realized like I think a lot. This year I would like to do more doing and less thinking, but that in itself is me galaxy braining away from this exact moment where I need to just give it a go. It's ironic because I think I said something about this in my last YouTube video like 3 years ago. Like, I want to just try more doing instead of, I guess, just like reducing overthink and more and increasing underthink. Increase underthink. I'm getting more excited about how cute this is going to be in my living room. That excitement is propelling me forward. So the drill bit is like barely moving into the material. And my wrist is getting really tired. What to do? Ugh, man. It is very, very slowly working. But the problem is like all of the example videos I watched were like time lapses. So I really have no concept of how long this should take. And this is like, it's like this thick. And I've gotten through like this much material. I guess I just have to keep going. I mean, I was explained that this should be like an all-purpose bit. And there is like material on the end. Is there because, I mean, it is supposed to with this material, I think. According to the splainer. Anyways, okay, I'm just gonna keep trying a little bit longer. Okay, there's a hole now. which is exciting. And you can see the bit has started to cut into the surrounding area. We are making progress. I want to proceed very slowly with the rest of it. Ta-da! Yay, it worked! Get your own gusto. You gotta get it. Get your own gusto. Get your own gusto. Here's what we're looking at so far. The pearl is affixed to the shell. I've added iridescent paint, which is very, very subtle. So that was like a mixture of watercolor paint and Mod Podge because I could not for the life of me find my actual iridescent paint that I used to paint the Yoda words. At any rate, it is a very cozy glow. It's a very soft light. It's just enough to read Elvish on your shirt. The background being white, it's looking a little bit samey. I think I want to paint the inside of the shell pink, which will make for a nice contrast between the pearl and the shell. And I'm going to do that tomorrow. Go from there. I think after that it will be done. The trick will be like painting it since it's already glued in. Yeah, it's definitely coming along. The way that I was able to figure out how to drill this was to aggregate a bunch of tutorials. And I think you'll find that like that's usually the solution. So when I said earlier, like you should just go in and find someone to explain to you, do that, but also maybe like wander around to another part of the store and ask someone else the same question. Chances are, if you do that and then like throw in a couple more YouTube tutorials from various people with various haircuts, you're gonna arrive at something that will eventually work. I'm really happy that the shell did not explode or crack or vanish into another dimension. And I was thinking about this, like the last thing I made was relatively ramshackle. I was just using what I already had, some like soldering wire, hot glue. I did go to a specialty shop to like get the prisms and stuff, but there are elements of that ramshackleness to this for sure. Like I'm using a Pringles can lid and hot glue again, but I feel like this is a slight level up from that last project. Just enough of an incremental level up that I can look back and see a little bit of growth there. This is a nice feeling. I am going to go watch Andor with my buddy. I will see you tomorrow. So I could not for the life of me find my iridescent acrylic paint, but I did have iridescent watercolors, which I used a cheese grater to grate into this acrylic paint and give it a little more of a pearl sheen. Now the pink, cool trick for pink is if you mix some yellow into pink, it makes it sweeter and more corally. So that's the first layer done. Watching this as an audience member, you'd be well within your rights to kind of feel as though you were watching a teenager mow a lawn and you were the dad and you were, you know, lovingly pointing out you missed a spot. So go ahead, any of those gaps that you see, you could go ahead and zoom in on those gaps, screen cap it, drop it in the comments, and I will select one at random Peak Dad award for this video. So yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio meme react away. Hello, my fellow kids. The lamp is complete. The bean arch is complete. We lived, we laughed, we loved. We made lamps like no one was watching. Let's take a freaking look. Honk honk, all aboard the Aphrodite bus. This is the steering wheel. The wheels look like this too. We've reinvented the wheel, y'all. This is what it looks like off. And this is what it looks like on. Kind of looks like the sun. Like the sun arriving fully formed on the froth of the Big Bang. Just kidding, that's not what happened. I would like to know what did happen, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't that. Things I learned in this project. I was intimidated by some aspects of this project, not in the least being the process of filming it itself. How to cut a hole out of plastic material, that's gonna come in handy. I'm definitely gonna be making more lamps. My next project will not be a lamp. Sorry, all you lamp hounds. Glad that I was able to just use the paint that I already had. The orb was free from my sister. Thank you, sis. The seashell was $10 from Facebook Marketplace. The lamp hardware was, I think that was like $5.99. Total project cost was $16. This is like very subtle in person. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know how often I'll upload, but ballpark is, I don't even know if I should say a ballpark because times are weird. And yet at the same time has always been weird. Like, people have always had stuff that they were working through collectively and on an individual level. And I just really feel like if you have like some kind of whimsical project that you've been putting off or setting to the side, just know that creating whimsy in your life is an act of resistance. It's not the only thing you should do with your life force to resist, but it is a cornerstone of humanity to experience joy. Ultimately, that's worth fighting for. Please do so. I just want to generally encourage you. If you like this video, please give that like button a gentle pat as if you were petting the snoot of a very, 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 very good dog.